You wake up, drag yourself out of bed, and immediately reach for a cup of coffee just to tolerate the next 12 hours. Then comes the commute to a job you likely wouldn't choose if money weren't an object, all to pay for an apartment you mostly use for sleeping. If you look closely during a morning board meeting, the reality starts to look thin. We are essentially anxious primates in tailored shirts, performing a highly specific set of rituals in a hierarchy we made up. The spreadsheets, the performance reviews, the bureaucratic red tape, none of it is a law of nature. We built these structures out of thin air. Once you see the game for what it is, the comfort of the routine evaporates. You're left with the realization that beneath the schedules and the coffee, no one actually knows why we're here. Philosophers call this collision between our expectations and reality the absurd. On one hand, human beings have a biological drive to find order. We are hardwired to look for reasons, goals, and a sense of ultimate purpose in everything we do. On the other hand, we live in a universe that remains stubbornly, deafeningly silent. It doesn't care about our plans, and it offers no answers to our most desperate questions. This diagram maps that tension. When our chronic need for meaning strikes the wall of universal indifference, the impact point is the absurd. It is a state of constant, unresolvable friction. Awareness of this silence changes the stakes of being alive. To live with the psychological weight of it, we have to find a way to move forward without losing our minds. One common response is denial, the act of inventing a rigid system to pretend the world actually makes sense. This often looks like a total commitment to the idea of a divine afterlife, or a belief that reaching a specific financial milestone is the true purpose of a human life. But tying your existence to a single, fragile plan limits your freedom. If the retirement fund vanishes, or the faith falters, the person is left existentially broken, with no foundation to stand on. Then there is nihilism. This involves acknowledging the void, but deciding that because nothing matters, there is no point in doing anything at all. While nihilism is honest about the lack of meaning, it often ends in a total surrender to apathy. It treats the one life we actually have as a burden to be endured, rather than lived. Albert Camus proposed a different path, absurdism. He argued we should accept the universe's silence without giving up our passion for living. For Camus, the goal isn't to solve the mystery of life, but to rebel against the lack of meaning by choosing to live as intensely as possible anyway. This isn't just an abstract theory. In 1915, Ernest Shackleton's crew was marooned on the Antarctic ice after their ship was crushed. They were thousands of miles from help, facing a freezing, empty nothingness. They knew rescue was unlikely. They were effectively discarded by the world, left in a landscape that was completely indifferent to whether they lived or died. And yet, they refused to surrender to despair. They staged silly plays, took moonlight walks, and found ways to laugh while staring directly into a hopeless abyss. The crew of the Endurance managed to find a sense of contentment in that lonely world of ice. They showed that even when the universe provides no reason to carry on, we can decide to carry on regardless. Camus used the myth of Sisyphus to ground this mindset. Sisyphus was condemned to roll a boulder up a hill for eternity, only for it to fall back down every single time. It is the ultimate picture of a futile, repetitive grind. Camus famously concluded that one must imagine Sisyphus happy. He is happy because he is fully aware of his fate and accepts it with total clarity. By giving his all to a task he knows will never be finished, Sisyphus transforms his struggle. He isn't a victim of the gods. He is the master of his own effort. When you stop demanding that the world provide you with a pre-written purpose, you gain total freedom. The universe's lack of a plan means the pen is finally in your hand. Author Vonnegut gave this rebellion a more modern, playful spin. He suggested that our job isn't to decode the cosmos, but simply to fart around on Earth and to ignore anyone who tells us we should be doing something more serious. That means seeing value in the small things, having a beer with friends, noticing a nice bird, or just doing the dishes with a sense of gratitude that you exist to do them. It's about choosing to dance in the middle of a performance that makes no sense.
Life is unprecedentedly weird and likely unexplained, which is exactly why it belongs entirely to you. Be better, be kinder, and be weirder, just because you can.